Thankfully, I don't have any skid marks on here.
Yo, welcome back to the channel, boys and girls. In today's video, we are taking a look at a brand new cycling apparel brand that I have been working with, which is called MBO, or moving, being open, whatever the heck that means. In this video, we're going to be talking about just what exactly MBO's mission is, why I chose to partner with them. Of course, we'll talk about the fit of the clothing because the clothing fit is really good, the pros and cons of going with MBO, and then just my overall impressions about the brand in general. Now, full disclosure, this is a sponsored video, and you will receive 25% off your purchase from MBO if you decide to use my code, which I'll link somewhere in the description down below. But with that being said, I was the one who initially reached out to MBO to sample their clothing because based on the photos of their apparel that I seen online on the Instagram, my only objective was simply to sample their clothing and then take a couple of pictures for them to post on my Instagram feed. However, MBO was extremely eager for me to make a full-length video on their clothing. And this is despite the fact that I told them time and time again that these type of cycling apparel brand videos just really don't perform well on my channel or really anybody's YouTube channel, because who really wants to see a full-length video, basically a commercial about cycling apparel? But nonetheless, here we are. So first off, who is MBO? Moving, being open. That's what MBO stands for. That's their slogan. If you want to go to their website to see exactly what each of these individual aspects means, moving, being open, then feel free to take a look on their website. But MBO, they're based in China, and they were officially established during 2022 with the same commitment towards uncompromising style and function. This is what's also on the website, but I think we all can agree that every brand has some sort of similar concept or ethos, regardless of how much or how little you spend on your cycling apparel. Now, their mission is basically, this is my personal take as far as what their mission is, but essentially MBO is trying to fill the gap between the cheap Chinese stuff that you might find on, say, like Amazon or AliExpress, and also be in the middle with more of the more expensive premium brands. Now, these are all brands that I have worn myself personally. Like I've worn Pas Normal, Lacoste, Ostroid, New York, and those are really, really good. And those are on the more pricier side of the spectrum. And so MBO is just trying to fill that gap in the middle. And if you've noticed that since the pandemic, we've really seen a boom of these middle of the road brands popping up. And it's interesting because with more and more athletes coming into the sport, you can expect there to be more of a competition rather, as far as price point on this various cycling apparel brand. And fun fact for you guys, MBO actually just opened up a flagship retail location down in South Beach, Miami. And MBO also sponsors one of the domestic professional crit teams here in America as well. So it's very clear that MBO wants to leave their mark here in the United States, particularly down in Florida. Now, next up, why did I choose to work with MBO? Personally speaking, if you guys have been following my channel for some time, you know that the majority of the bikes, wheels, frames, etc. that I have been featuring on here, you know, they tend to be more on the value side of things. And that's always been kind of my take for this channel. Even when I started this channel, I didn't have a lot of money to build a bike. So I was looking for something that would give me a really good value that didn't cost a lot of money. And so on different reasons, I just don't understand why consumers have to, all of us basically pay $250 for a set of bibs or jersey just to get a super modern fit. And this is exactly why I reached out to MBO, because I really like the fit of their clothing. Now, of course, marketing, lifestyle, brand cachet, these all play a huge role in a customer's buying decision. And these aspects usually factor into the more expensive brands. But with that being said, this isn't some, oh, they just sent me some free clothes, so let's just go ahead and make a video on it. This is really more about me believing in their understanding of both value and the specific fit that customers want in the Western market. Now, next up, let's talk about just some of the things they offer. So being that they are based in China and they handle their own production, they offer a variety of different aspects of clothes that you can imagine. Of course, they have bibs, they have jerseys, they have their undergarments, they have socks, they have gloves, they have overshoes, winter apparel, all the things that you can expect. And again, these are going to be coming in at a very competitive price point. Next up, let's talk about my personal picks as far as clothing goes.
Okay, now the first kit that I want to draw your attention to, this is from MBO's Prime collection of kits. This will run you about $220 USD before that 25% off discount code. Basically, the jersey is about $100 and then the bibs are $120. And this is a really nice kit. In fact, this is my first completely all black kit. I tend to normally go with like brighter colors, but I really like the design of this one. So you have kind of this separate material on the sleeves, which a little bit stretchy, but the length on these guys is fantastic. And I like that they went with a different material versus the main one. It stretches nice and it just fits on the body really well. Now, this is one of those ones that does not have the hidden zipper pocket. So MBO, for your next iteration of this Prime jersey, make sure you include that zipper pocket because it's very important. And again, guys, this is a size American medium and it fits really well on me. Now moving on to the bibs also have a nice length on them, and then it has those rubber grippers on the bottom, which means that the length or basically the bibs themselves, they stay in place really nicely. Now MBO wants me to show you guys the chamois on the inside. I guess you can see it if you want. I mean, they're just high density foam. They're really nice. It's really comfortable for long hours. Thankfully, I don't have any skid marks on here, but just all in all, for just a solid black kit, this is a really nice kit for the price. Then moving on, MBO also included a gilet, which is really nice. Also same size as the size medium. The fit on here is pretty decent. I wish it was a little bit tighter. My main issue with this one, now this is just intended just to be for resistance to the cold wind, but there are no back pockets on here. So what that means is if you are wearing this and it's cold out, you need to grab something in one of your back pockets on your actual jersey, you're gonna have to unzip this and then be able to access those back pockets. This is not my preferred type of gilet, so I probably won't be wearing it much just because there are literally no zippers on here at all. There's not even a zipper in the front to hide your mobile device. So just gotta keep that in mind, that it's affordable, but there are no pockets with it. The next kit I want to show you guys, this is also again from that same Prime collection from MBO. This is one of their spring/fall long sleeve cycling jerseys. It's a little bit on the thin side, so you probably could get away with this wearing this in like maybe a cooler summer month, maybe just like if it's 65-70 degrees on here. But the fit on here is really good. It's really stretchy. Again, this one does not have any hidden zipper pockets on it, so shame on you, MBO. And I like that they've used a separate, more sort of texture detail on the sleeves. Again, it just kind of helps break up this very solid, I don't know what color this is, blush or pink, I don't know, but the fit on here is really good. If you want to go ahead and use maybe some sort of undershirt as well, just to get a little bit of warmth, you can do that too. But I really like the way this one fits on me, and I've worn this already so far. It's really nice when it's been like 60 degrees outside. And then this is just a color gray bibs. It's from that same collection again. It's from their Prime collection, but the difference with this particular one is this one has basically the seamless bottoms on here. So there are some rubber grips on the inside, they just aren't prominent on the outside. Now usually this is not my preferred style of bibs, because for my particular self, maybe because I have bigger quads, this particular seamless design tends to ride up over time. But I've gone out with these for like 3-4 hour rides, and for the most part the sleeves on the bibs here, the length, they more or less stay in place. So really nice job. I like that there's a little bit of breathability too in the straps that go over your shoulders. They did a really good job from MBO. And again, guys, like I said, it's very clear that they've considered the Western customer in mind. And then finally, guys, this is from MBO's Pro collection of bibs and jerseys. This is actually my favorite jersey out of the three kits, mainly just because of the fit of this. Now, the fabric wise, it's not that great in hot or super hot weather, but I love the way this particular kit fits on me. It fits on me perfectly. The sleeve length is perfect. I like the design. You have some nice bold lettering on here as well. Either you love it or hate it, but that's what you get. But just the overall fit of this jersey is really nice. It's a little bit on the shorter side, which is what I like, because it just basically lengthens the appearance of your legs. And this one does have a hidden zipper pocket on it, so good job, MBO. And then for the matching bibs, it has the matching bold lettering on here. So if you are more of the, the aesthetic style where you like to have the bold white lettering on here, this matches very well with that Pro jersey. And then for these Pro bibs, these are also really nice. There's more of like this graphite color, but the length on here is really nice. Everything stays in place, and I can't emphasize enough just how good the chamois positioning is on these bibs. And that's really just been the main draw for me using MBO. This is what the inside looks like. Now, this kit is not the cheapest in their collection, since this is the Pro, and everybody knows when you go with anything Pro, they basically sort of upcharge you. So this kit is going to run you about like $370 before my discount. So it definitely is on the pricier side. It's basically right up there with the Western brands, but you do get 25% off your purchase.
Now, moving right along, let's get into the pros and cons of going with MBO. Now, you can imagine that this is based on my personal experiences and just my own personal fit. So your experience might be slightly different, but here goes. Now, first starting with the pros, in my opinion, the fit is excellent on the apparel from MBO. In the realm of other Chinese brands, MBO has really nailed down the fit for what Western customers want. And this is a huge deal for me. What I've noticed is with some of the other competitors, particularly from the Chinese brands, is either things are just either too tight or just too short, or maybe sometimes the fabrics that they use, granted you are getting them at a specific price point, just the materials are just not that great. And so it's clear that MBO really paid attention to the fit and aesthetics of what American customers want. So it makes sense why they opened up a flagship shop down in South Beach, Florida. Now, regarding the length of the sleeves are spot on, and the fit on the bibs is very, very good. Now, just for reference, I'm 6 feet tall and I weigh around 170 pounds. And so I went with the size Europe/USA medium for everything. I think that probably translates to like a Chinese large, but nonetheless, I am an American medium in everything. Next, as far as the pros, is the fabric stays in place. MBO did a really good job selecting fabrics that stay in place after hours and hours, even including harder efforts. And part of that is due to just how the material stretches and the fact that on some of their garments, MBO has elected to include rubber grips, and the rubber grips work very well even in the hot weather. Another point I want to talk about, and this is one of the other main reasons why I've gone with MBO and why I think you, especially if you are a Western athlete, why you should choose MBO. And this has to do with the chamois. Not just the quality of the chamois, because the chamois is really good. I'm talking about specifically the placement within the bibs of the chamois. One of the gripes I have with the cheaper Chinese brands is the fact that not only is the chamois usually too small, but just the chamois is not placed far enough forward to actually have your sit bones sit square center on the bibs. So what happens is basically the edges of the chamois where the seams are underneath the bibs, that area can tend to chafe in your sensitive areas, especially if you have a pretty lousy bike fit. And so what MBO has done, they have opted to basically move that chamois a little bit further. I don't know why I'm doing this with my hands, but they've moved the chamois forward in such a way where the sit bones and just basically your saddle position is spot on, where there are no aspects of the chamois that are going to be allowing for chafing. There's really only a handful of brands that I have dealt with that just really has thought about the location of the chamois, and it has been all the Western brands, and then also Red White Bibs. They're based in Singapore, but they only focus on bibs. But outside of that, all the other Chinese brands, they seem to get the chamois location absolutely wrong. And what's funny too is because the placement of the chamois on these MBO bibs are so good, I actually have been using less and less chamois cream because I don't have to worry about chafing or having just my sensitive areas basically get worn down to bits. Now, moving on to the cons, there are really only two cons when it comes to MBO. The first one comes to do with the zipper pocket or lack thereof. I've noticed that on some of the jerseys, they don't include a security or a safety zip pocket. And in my opinion, regardless of how aero you want your jerseys to be, a hidden or just a secure zip pocket should be mandatory on all jerseys. I don't know if it's like a budget thing or maybe some people don't like the aesthetics of having a zipped pocket, but for me personally, because I want to make sure my secure items are secure, a zipper should be mandatory on every single set of jerseys. And then the second con that I have has to do with some of the fabrics that they use, particularly in hot and humid weather. What I've noticed is some of these more stretchy and spandex-like fabrics, they just don't breathe well in the summertime. And this is where I've noticed where some of the savings are built into this particular brand versus going with some of the more premium brands like Pas Normal, Ostroy, etc. is those more expensive brands, they do a phenomenal job with wicking away more moisture, particularly in the hot and humid weather. What ends up happening with this more stretchier fabric on some of these jerseys from MBO is you end up getting a lot of sweat building up around the frontal area. And it can be comfortable when the weather gets really hot, something like 85 to 90 degrees Fahrenheit. So just keep that in mind. And what I would say is the just overall kind of styling and aesthetics that MBO offers, it's more for the recreational or enthusiast level of an athlete. If you are, say, someone like a professional race team, I don't think that these fabrics are going to stand up to the test of just what an athlete competing is going to be dealing with. And so this is where something like a Pactimo, a Jackroo, or one of these other brands that are focused on custom team orders, because those particular brands tend to use fabrics that are intended for high intensity efforts, particularly in the hot weather. And then last, guys, just my overall impression with MBO. I think at the price point that they have, I think that they position themselves really well with respects to both that chamois placement as well as the overall fit of both their bibs and their jerseys. Like I've said prior, some of the more Chinese brands, they might be a little bit cheaper. They might have a wider range of colors and styles to choose from, but they tend to fall flat in both the chamois position as well as just some of the overall fit of their jerseys. And so with MBO at the price point, they have really nailed down the aesthetics of what I believe Western customers want. The fit is bang on. Maybe you wouldn't use these bibs particularly for like a crit race in the middle of July in the summertime, but for all other weather variations, the fabric holds up very well. So that's gonna wrap it up for today's video, guys. Huge thank you to MBO for sending me out this clothing for me to test and to keep reviewing in these coming months. And like I said earlier, guys, I do have a discount code for you guys to receive 25% off your purchase from MBO. Questions, comments, and concerns, please feel free to leave them down below, and I will check you guys on the next one. Thank you so much for watching. Peace.